Incredible flavours, even better stories. One pour, 10 minutes. Aussie bourbon lovers sharing bourbon with Australia.
Oh, what a good pop. All right,
Great
here we
one.
go. What's this one? What are we drinking
This
tonight?
one is some Hillrock Solera aged bourbon whiskey. Did I say that right?
You did.
What does Solera aged mean?
Oh, great. We'll get into that.
In a
Guess what?
second.
The bottle, if you have a look at the picture if you're listening, but have a look at that if you're watching. It is one of the most delicious looking bottles.
It's so square for those who like symmetry and style.
Yeah. Symmetry and style. They're
Symmetry
the
and
things we're
style.
going for with our
Solera
whiskey.
aged bourbon whiskey.
Cheers. What does Solera aged mean? Was that your question?
That was my question, yeah. I have no idea.
So I'm going to get it slightly wrong, but
That's something new.
in principle it's going to be all right. Are you okay with that?
Absolutely. Just
All
give
right.
me a vague idea of what, because normally it's like 20 years or 10 years of what's Solera aged.
And Hillrock win the prize because I think they're the first bourbon to have ever done this.
Yep.
A Solera is an arrangement of barrels from new to old barrels. And what happens is you put whiskey in it.
Yeah.
And I say whiskey loosely because I've had Australian whiskey, for example, and I know there's plenty of other world whiskies that do this, in the younger barrels first for a period of time. And often they don't disclose this stuff because it's relatively complex for a bit. And then they put them into the next barrel and they take that and put it into the next barrel and they put it into the next barrel. And
Are
so
there new barrels that they're putting them into?
So sometimes, not always. It's usually a mix.
Oh.
In fact, so for this one, we know that it's new charred oak barrels is the first bit,
Yep.
but then they go into sherry casks.
Ah.
So, interestingly,
And is there a set number when they say Solera aged? Does that mean like they've been through 10 different barrels or 3 different barrels? Or
well, I don't know. I don't know if they disclose this, but what they definitely don't disclose is how old it is. They think, one of the articles I was just reading was saying that they think it's about 6 years old. But this one they say Solera aged bourbon whiskey, and they say it's aged in American oak and finished in sherry casks. So it's a bit complicated, but it's basically, if you think of Angel's Envy is a bourbon that's finished in a port cask, it's kind of like that, but it's a bit more
but it could have
complicated
been through a
than that.
number of casks. So Solera aged means it's like goes through different barrels.
Yeah, a whole bunch of them.
It's all top secret.
Yeah.
So they should just call it top secret aged bourbon.
Done in a crazy complex way. So, but what you're going to get on the nose, it's a bourbon finished in cherry casks if you keep it really simple.
Yeah.
But it's kind of done in a fancier way than that.
You definitely get that fruity,
Right.
like plummy cherry kind of.
Yep. I reckon you're right. I think, I think of the Oloroso sherry cask finished Master's Keep that we have, which is that, has that sweetness, that kind of grapey, sherry sweetness. My grandma used to drink a lot of sherry.
I'm fruit picking with my dad.
Oh, really?
We lived near an orchard and they used to come and let us collect the fruit after the pickers had been through. We used to collect all the fruit off the ground and it was like in amazing condition.
I'm so pleased that your country bumpkin childhood brings so much to our podcast. You really do have a lot to offer in the way of
One I'm talking about harvesting wheat, the next I'm talking about visiting the orchard.
stories a long way from civilization.
But when I nose a bourbon, it's often not flavours. It's like I get like a memory or a visual on where or what I'm doing. And this, I'm fruit picking with my dad.
Have you had a little taste yet?
Oh yeah,
It
the smell
is.
is so good. I don't want to drink it yet.
Oh, well, just leave it in the glass. I'll drink it later. The story of this particular bottle is a fun one because on yet another one of these work trips where I'm in San Francisco,
Did you buy it because the bottle looked good?
nah,
Oh,
not even. I went into a
respect for you, Dave.
bottle shop, a liquor store, whatever you want to call it, that has good bourbons. I'd done quite a bit of research to find. San Francisco was my last stop. I think on that trip I hadn't gone to any distilleries, so I had my full duty-free allowance.
Somewhere that knew what they were talking about.
I said, hey, I'm from Australia, fly it tomorrow. I've got a
There's space for
suitcase
one bottle
ready
left.
to go. Well, I didn't have any. I had space for a few bottles. And I said, what should I be getting? And that was the first time I got a Maker's 10. I got a few really good ones. And he said, I have a few of these bottles. I think you should take one of these bottles because you're going to have trouble getting another one of them because they're harder to get now, apparently. I don't know enough about this. Someone
Can
will
you get
know
them
more
in
about-
Australia?
No, you can't get in Australia. If you want one of these,
Can you get them in America?
maybe
Probably.
head to San Francisco and try to get to a good bottle shop. But you can get them a little bit, but they're quite hard to find. he said,
Not common.
what's your weight allowance in your luggage? Because if you look at the bottle, it's like a huge amount of
Heavy
glass.
glass.
So much glass. And it's such a stunning bottle. And every time I pour some
It's
bourbon
one of the
out
ones
this
that I'm
bottle,
going to be like, please don't throw it out.
and please don't throw it out. Please don't drink too much of the bourbon because it's such a cool, beautiful bottle.
We've got it neatly underlined Hillrock. Like the title on the bottom is neatly underlined with bourbon right now.
That's true. You reckon we should stop drinking? Because there's literally a
Bourbon
line
is
between
made
where
to
it
drink
says
and made to enjoy. But that is a very perfectly...
beautiful stopper. Just such beautiful packaging. So Hillrock Estate is, if you go from New York City up towards Albany along the Hudson, and you almost get there, right near the border between Massachusetts and Connecticut, that's where Hillrock is. And I think we should go.
well, it's on our to-do list to go there because we've been to lots of ones in Kentucky, but we have yet to venture out of Kentucky to go enjoy some distilleries.
Well, I have been to some distilleries and other
When I say
places.
us, I'm talking about us.
Together. Yeah, right.
Together,
There's some
Dave.
togetherness. Great. But we are hoping to go to Kings County later in the year
That
in
would
New
be
York City.
great.
So that'll be
great.
cool. So
Can we put this one on the list?
we can put it on. It's 2
Do we have
hours
to?
north of New York City, and we're only there for like 48 hours. or
It's
something.
nice tasting.
It is delicious. There's an Australian distillery who was the first one who introduced me to the idea of Solera aging, and that's the Gospel here in Melbourne.
Okay.
And they have
Is that how they do it?
Solera aged rye. When they first explained it to me, it sounded like they had racking inside their warehouse. And I thought that the barrels were all connected by like some kind of hose system or like some piping
I was
system.
going to say, how do they transfer it? Because that would be a whole lot more work than just putting it in, leaving it in the barrel and getting it out.
It's embarrassing to say I don't know. I looked for pictures and I couldn't find. He said I should have some pictures of it when he was
Listen to our
telling me.
podcast for all the answers to the questions we don't know.
But the answer is I think that they do a whole
Good
bunch
question.
of different ones. And so sometimes they just literally take it out of one barrel and put it in another barrel.
Yeah.
Like literally like thieve it out or siphon it out, pour it
Yeah.
out, whatever it is. But the thing about the Solera is they always leave some of the current whiskey
In the barrel. And then they add more
so
to
they would
it.
only remove, I don't know if it's half or 2/3 or a third or whatever it is, and they add more in, so they're always topping up and removing and topping up and
Your
removing.
dad would love that. He loves mixing his port
He
like
loves
that.
it. Yeah, I agree.
Can we call his port Solera aged port?
Well,
Not really. It gets
Maybe.
drunk too quickly.
well, but it does get drunk really quickly. But I suppose he has to top it up in that way.
Yeah.
So I suppose that's one thing.
It's a fascinating concept. And I learned something new tonight.
Well, there you go. Hillrock in New York City. I also am super grateful for people who are really knowledgeable about this stuff. This guy, this
Not
bottle,
us.
what?
Not us.
We don't fit into that category at all. We're just Australian
Exploring
bourbon lovers.
the world of bourbon.
Bourbon.
Bourbon?
So I'm really grateful for this guy because he was so generous with his knowledge, and he was like, "These are the bottles that I love, and I think I'm gonna claim the last ones. But here, you should take them if you're going to Australia tonight. You should take them."
That's like someone genuinely sharing the love of a great drink.
And I think this is the thing that I love about the generosity of the bourbon culture.
Well, I found that too when we were at Kentucky Bourbon Festival. Like the fact that they, in so many markets you see the people who do the same stuff as you as like rivals or competitors, and they champion each other so incredibly. And you'll go to one stand and they'll talk about how great the other guys are, and they by building each other up, they really share that great community of bourbon loving. And I think it makes it more special and better because of it. It's not that we're better than these guys because of this, and we're better than those people because of that. It's like, how great are those guys? We do this, they do that.
There's this saying in business that a rising tide lifts all boats, and I feel like what happens in the bourbon industry is much more complex and better than that. It's not that a rising tide. It's like, let's help each other
Yeah.
do better and do good, and if someone needs help with something, we'll help with something.
Yeah.
And there's some really fascinating stories in the history of bourbon about big distilleries who help other big distilleries during times of crisis. There's a fire or operations have to stop for a reason, and the people around them go, "Hey, we can help
it's that
distill your juice for you."
That genuine love of what they do, but also that genuine care for each other. Like it's the stories behind the bourbon that I love.
And even as recently as like the last few days, I heard a podcast about someone who was looking to help another distillery in a different part of the country of the US start up and get their program going. And he said, can I just come and hang out for a month and see how you do it and what you're doing? And they said, yeah, come along and learn. And then he took that and shared that with someone else, and it was all very transparent.
Yeah.
But they want to help each other. They want to do more good stuff together. And in a time as busy as this for the bourbon industry, it's so impressive and so it's exciting as people who don't always see this stuff.
Yeah,
I think that the small moment of him saying you should have this bottle because otherwise I'm going to take it home is like a minor version of that.
Yeah, it's genuinely good. He's sharing his love of bourbon.
But I'm glad he did.
With someone who he knows loves bourbon.
It's our game. Cheers.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you're connected with us on TikTok, Instagram and YouTube, and stay connected with us by clicking subscribe on your favourite podcast app.